Hello and welcome to Omaha. My name is Jessica Secchi, the Tourism Sales Manager for Visit Omaha. And this is Gary Anders, one of our fabulous step-on guides. We are so excited to show you around Omaha today, but specifically why Warren Buffett chooses to live, work, and play in our beautiful city. Today, Gary and I are going to take you around Warren's stomping grounds and show you what you'll experience if you join us on the $1 Billion Tour. Born in August of 1930, Warren Buffett is considered to be one of the world's top investors. In 2019, his net worth was $85 billion, but he continues to be very humble and down to earth. We'll show you all about his life and what it's like to live like a billionaire. Our first stop is the Rose Theater. Groups will take a behind-scenes tour of the theater, one of the top children's theaters in the nation. Named after Rose Blumkin, the theater offers a unique combination of Moorish and classical architecture, as you can see throughout the interior of the theater as well as the exterior. The Rose is also one of the last grand movie palaces left over from the times where we used to frequent the theater often.
On the tour, you will have the opportunity to visit the Rose Theater. This is a beautiful theater that was constructed in 1926 and opened in 1927 as a vaudeville theater. That life was short-lived and it closed and became a movie theater in 1930. In the 1930s. In 1930 to 1950, it continued to operate as a movie theater, and when it closed, it was purchased and became the home of the Omaha Packers. The Omaha Packers was a professional bowling team, and the theater was modified to a bowling alley, but that also was short-lived. Following that, the theater reopened as the Astro Theater, which continued in operation until the late 70s. By 1983, the building was scheduled for demolition, and a lady by the name of Rose Blumkin, who you can see right here, learned of the pending demolition. She sent her granddaughter to purchase the building, and she told her granddaughter, "I don't care what it costs, just buy it." In addition to gifting the building to the Children's Theater, she also donated an additional $1 million for its renovation. The theater today is known as the Rose Blumkin Performing Arts Center, and it's known by its short name, the Rose Theater. The question is, how is this connected to Warren Buffett? Well, in 1983, when Rose purchased the building, Warren had just purchased the Nebraska Furniture Mart from Rose for $60 million. In addition, there continues to be a connection today as Warren's daughter, Susie Buffett, is the president of the Rose Blumkin Performing Arts Foundation.
Next stop is Hollywood Candy. Hollywood Candy offers hundreds of memorabilia from the 1950s to the 1970s era. The candy shop also includes thousands of options from Jelly Bellies to moon pies and over 150 soda pop flavors. The warehouse also includes a movie theater where groups can enjoy a movie and some popcorn. They even got a retro malt shop because who doesn't love an original ice cream sundae? It's the perfect spot to do some shopping and bring home some nostalgia. The owner, Larry, searches high and low for different collections to showcase and anything that has a rich history. Some of his collections include a Pez dispenser collection, a pinball museum, the original troll dolls, and he even has a pen collection in the back that he purchased from a local Nebraskan.
The Old Market is one of the most popular destinations for tourists to Omaha. In the heart of the Old Market is Hollywood Candy. Hollywood Candy is very unique and is also a popular destination for people who travel to Omaha for the Berkshire Hathaway shareholders meeting. During one of those visits, two people came and visited Hollywood Candy. They were Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. While here, they reminisced about their favorite sweet treats. They also talked about the benefit of owning a pinball machine business, which happened to be one of the first businesses owned by Warren when he was a teenager. They also both love ice cream, and we know that Warren especially enjoys ice cream, and so they also enjoyed an ice cream treat. During that visit, they did film an episode of a blog of Bill Gates in Gates Notes. It was called Sweet Nostalgia. During that taping, Warren mentioned that his grandfather owned a grocery store here in the old market. The original building was very close to this location of Hollywood Candy.
Let's take a break for a sweet treat at E-Creamery. Groups can stroll down the streets of Omaha's Dundee neighborhood and experience gourmet ice cream at its best. E-Creamery serves unique flavors churned to perfection. And as featured on the television show Shark Tank, the mouth-watering ice cream has been listed as one of Oprah's favorite things. Even billionaire Warren Buffett brought his friend Paul McCartney by the shop when the music legend visited Omaha. When you visit, be sure to order Warren's favorite flavor, Butterbrickle, which, fun fact, Butterbrickle was invented in Omaha.
In 1915, Warren's grandfather Ernest moved his grocery store from the old market area to the newly developing suburb of Dundee, and actually opened up his grocery store just a half block from where I'm standing today. When Warren was young, he did work in the grocery store, but was not fond of that employment. However, his entrepreneurial spirit did allow him to purchase packages of gum and 6-packs of pop, and he would go door to door to sell those items for a profit. The Dundee neighborhood is very important to Warren. He ended up going to church at Dundee Presbyterian Church, and that's where he and his first wife, Susan, were married. When he moved back to Omaha from Washington, they purchased a home in the Dundee area in 1958. The purchase price was $31,500, and that's where he chose to raise his 3 children. He continues to live in that home today with his second wife, Astrid. One thing that Astrid is said to do for him is to make sure that he has the correct change in his car in the evening before he takes off to work the next morning, so that he is able to drive through the local McDonald's to pick up his cup of coffee on the way to work. Now, E-Creamery, where we are standing, does some very special things with its ice cream flavors. One of the things that they do is in connection with the College World Series. And what they do is they name specific ice creams for the different teams as they come to the College World Series. When a team loses, the flavor's no longer available. As an example, in 2018, when Florida was there, the name of their ice cream was Repeat Treat Ice Cream. Unfortunately, it did not allow for them to win that year when Oregon State did win with the Beeves Triple Berry.
Every tour needs a little bit of shopping, and what better place than Nebraska Furniture Mart, specifically Mrs. B's. Tour one of the largest furniture stores in the world and dive into the history of Nebraska Furniture Mart. Learn how Rose Blumkin, a poor Russian immigrant, started the business, how Warren Buffett acquired the Mart through $1 million handshake, and how their unique relationship grew over the years. Explore aisles and floors of furniture and even get a little bit of shopping done.
Rose Blumkin and her husband were immigrants from Russia, as Jessica has said. One of the things about Rose Blumkin was that she never had any kind of formal education. It's also said that she never learned to read and write English. However, she was a genius at math, and she had a photographic memory and could remember numbers and could do all kinds of math problems in her head. Well, her husband opened a pawn shop in downtown Omaha, and in the 1930s, Rose decided that she was going to open a used furniture store in the basement of that pawn shop. She started out with $500 and a bunch of used furniture. At times, she would run out of inventory and would call home and tell her children to take all of the clothes out of the baby's furniture because I have a customer and I just sold it. Over the years, she was able to open her own store and was the founder of Nebraska Furniture Mart. Nebraska Furniture Mart became one of the largest furniture stores in not just the United States, but in the world. Well, Warren Buffett was very interested in her business model. He had a lot of respect for her, and over the years, he would approach her and say, "I want to buy your store." And she would say, "You're too cheap." Well, when she turned 90 years old in 1983, he heard a rumor that she might be interested in selling the store. Well, she continued to work when she was 90, and on that day, he walked into the store while she was working in the flooring department. And that's why we are in the flooring department today. Well, he walked up to her and said, "Are you ready to sell your store?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "How much?" And she said, $60 million. And he said, "Okay," and shook her hand. On the next day, he showed up with a handwritten check. Well, about 5 years after she sold the store to Berkshire Hathaway and she was continuing to work in the store, her sons decided that she no longer needed to work, and so kind of forced her out of the store. She wasn't ready to stop working at 95, so 3 months later opened her own store to compete with Nebraska Furniture Mart, and actually was in the same lot as Nebraska Furniture Mart. And she called it Mrs. B's. She opened a carpet store. Well, within a short time, she was selling more carpet. She was the third most popular store in Omaha selling carpet. Warren recognized the fact that she was quite a competitor with Nebraska Furniture Mart and decided he needed to approach her and purchase that store also. And that was fine as long as she was allowed to continue to work. Well, she did continue to work, and she worked 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, as long as Nebraska Furniture Mart was open. She was working, and she was often found in the flooring department, which again was her most popular place to be. When she was older, she did drive around the store either in a golf cart or in a motorized wheelchair. And you really did need to watch out because she at times would even run over your toes. Well, she worked until she was 103 years old, and she died at 104. One thing that I do want to say was way back in 1973, when I bought my first couch and chair, I purchased it in Nebraska Furniture Mart, which then was in downtown Omaha. And the person who sold it to me was Mrs. B.
Your visit to Omaha would not be complete without enjoying an Omaha steak. Gorat's is an old-school Italian steakhouse that has been in Omaha since 1944. And enjoying a meal here has become something of a pilgrimage for Buffett enthusiasts and Berkshire shareholders. When you're here, be sure to enjoy Buffett's favorite meal, which includes a 22-ounce T-bone steak, a double order of hash browns, and a cherry Coke. And while you're inside, check out his private dining space just for him.
Welcome to Gorat's Steakhouse. Gorat's is one of Omaha's fine Italian steakhouses. It came into existence in 1944 and was opened by Louis and Nettie Gorat, and they opened it in this home that you see here. It remained in the Gorat family until 2012, until it came under new ownership. The new owner has done a wonderful job of restoring the restaurant back to its original glories from the 1940s and 1950s. One thing that is important about Gorat and the Billionaire Tour is the fact that Warren was a good friend of a son of the Gorats, and he started dining at Gorat's regularly and has been dining here regularly for many years. Warren is known to bring his friends from out of town, and on one occasion he had a friend by the name of Bill Gates who was in town and was at their home. He was entertaining at his home. They decided that they were hungry, and so they came to Gorat to dine. When they were done eating, they walked out to the parking lot, tried to start the car, and unfortunately the car would not start. As a result, they ended up calling a cab, and the cab driver came and picked up Warren and Bill and gave them a ride home. Can you imagine being that cab driver and picking up those two riders?
Thank you for joining us on this sneak peek into Visit Omaha's $1 Billion Tour. My name is Jessica Secchi, the Tourism Sales Manager for Visit Omaha, and this is Gary Anders, one of our fabulous step-on guides. We hope to see you living like a billionaire very soon. If you have any questions on how to book this itinerary, please visit our website at visitomaha.com and reach out to me.